Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Virtual Eclipse Community Meetup. I'm your host, Stephanie Swart, and today is our 5th webinar of our Eclipse Photon series. With 85 projects, 246 committers, 73 million lines of code, and 620 committers or contributors, Eclipse Photon is set to release June 27th. But before then, we are showcasing some of the projects that will be included in the release. Today, I'm joined by Sarika Sinha from IBM, who is presenting Embracing Java 9 and Beyond with Eclipse JDT. So without further ado, Sarika, take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm Sarika. I'm committed on JDT project and platform project. I'm also one of the lead on Eclipse JDT project. So today I'm going to talk about how Eclipse has changed and how it has adopted the changes which has come with Java 9 and Java 10. So as we know, the Java releases have become twice yearly. We had a release in March Java 10 and we will be having a release Java 11 in September 2018, and not far away we had a release of Java 9 in September 2017. So Eclipse coping up with that, it will be having a quarterly release in March, June, September and December. So get ready to have new Eclipse versions with new Java capabilities very soon. So now I am going to show the features of Java 9, how we can use Eclipse effectively and become a pro in Java 9. So Java 9 has introduced the allowing of private methods. In Java 8, the default methods were added. Now in Java 9, we have the private and private static methods. So as we can see here, so I'm going to share my screen now. So as we can see here, now we can have a private and private static methods inside the interface as well. So it allows us to put the reusable code in the methods, in the private methods, even for interface, like we do it for classes. Along with it, we can see that there are many other language specific changes like try with resources. So now we can use a final or effectively final variable inside the try resource block, which was not allowed till Java 8. And if we are not using effectively final, we can see that we get a compilation error that a variable should always be a final or effectively final. Java 7 introduced a concept of safe var arg. So we could add a safe var arg annotation for static final methods as well as constructors. Now it is also allowed for the private instance scope methods, but still we don't allow it for the public instance methods. As we can see here, it is not allowed and we get a compilation error. But a private instance scope method is allowed for a safe var args. Going to the next feature and talking about the streams. So Java 9 has added a lot of stream improvement APIs. Like we were always missing the how to add the conditions for iterate method. So we can see here now we can add a condition how to terminate the iterate method. So we can add S where S is where we are going to terminate the iterate. Not only this way, we can also terminate the condition using a take while, where take while can add a predicate which will terminate the iterate method. Also, we have a drop while method which can create a subset and it can drop the some elements from the iteration and it can create a new subset and till it matches the condition which is specified in the drop while condition. Also, a very usable feature of nullable method has been added. So if we have a stream which is null and we use it incidentally, we are going to get a null point exception. But here, if we use an off nullable method, it will not be a problem because it takes care and it will always run only if it is not null value. If it is a null value, it just does not execute the remaining part of the statement. So this will help us to avoid unnecessary addition of null checks. So coming to the improvements in the collection framework area, Java 9 has added a new method of, so we can create new collections very easily for the list, map, sets, and all kind of collections. Only restriction is the list created is immutable and the value should not be null. So here, if we try to change the list, we will get a runtime exception. And also, if we try to add a null value, then also we will get an error. So we have to be very careful. We can use these methods, but it has to be only immutable and without null values. So these are the language features, but the major support is Jigsaw addition to the Java 9. So it adds a concept of module. So module is a collection of the related packages and resources and a particular module info.java. So if we see Java 9, we can see we don't have any rt.jar, but now it is a list of all the modules. So there are these Java modules, which are Java SEC, and we have JDK modules, which starts with JDK. And in any of the module, we can see we have lot of packages, and all of them has a module info.java. And here it will specify what are the packages it exports and what all does it require and what all services does it provide. So this is a new way of programming, and so Eclipse has also allowed how we can create. So we can create a new modular project using a new Java project. So here we can see in the second page, we get an option create module info.java. By default for Java 9 and above JREs, this option will be provided with a default selected value. We can uncheck if we want to. And this will ask us a name. This computes a module name on its own by default, the project name, but a user can override this name and it can choose to create it or not. So it can, if it says don't create, it will not create the module info, and user can create, which is a suggested way. Also, if your user did not create it, or later after some changes it wants to override it, it can always do through the configure create module info.java. So if it is already there, it will say, do you want to override it? Otherwise, it will create a new module info.java. Also, in the search scope, we have added the module scope. Here you can see. So suppose I have a module which I want to search in my workspace. I can do a search with a scope for module. So it will show me where is this defined. So a new scope has been added. And now the module also comes up with a new concept of module path and class path. So for all the projects, we provide a way to define the build path, where now we have the projects and the libraries. We can see a module path and class path entry in the projects as well. So we can add a dependency on a project or on a library, which can be either part of a module path or a class path. So here, as we can see, Java 9, the JRE is part of the module path. We can also add something in the class path. If something is not already modular, we can add the jars in the class path as well. we can see here, so I have added a jar, and we have a new node is not modular or is modular. So an entry which is there in module path will have a node is modular, and an entry which is there in is not in class path will have a is not modular, and we can change it by toggling it, and it will move to module path, and we can edit the entries here. So we can specify if we want to change the scope. So by default, all the modules will be in the JRE will be part of this modular project. But if we want it to limit to some of the modules, we can remove few of them, and then it will be specific. It will be limited to these modules. Also, we can add some. If we want to patch a module, here we can specify which module we want to patch, and as Java 9 comes up with many options like add reads and add exports. So these are the options which allows a project, a module to access other modules. So suppose if a module has not exposed a package, it can still read it, or once if it is exported by another project. So here through this dialog, we can add the add reads and exports. Also, we have added Java 9 also has added -- release option. So we can see here, so this is available for Java 9 and above, and for compiler compliance level 1.6 and above. So if we are using, so initially suppose we have a project which is having a compiler option with 9. So it will compile all the code in this project with the compliance level 9. So here, as it is 9, we can see that effectively final, we can use a variable which has been defined with a final and effectively final scope. Now, if we try to use the release option, and we move the compliance level to 8. So before 9, even if we use the compliance level of 8 and the JRE which is in the path is 9, the JRE 9 libraries were used for the compilation. But now with this -- release option, it makes it easy for us to use any JRE but still compile it with a certain level greater than 1.6. So here now if we see, we have used a 1.8 compliance level. Then now as it is getting compiled with 1.8, we can get the error that it is not available. And with to support Java 9, we have added many quick fixes. Like here, we can see it is right now not a part of this. So we can add this import. And if it is not there, it can ask you to create it as well. And if we did not have this, it will also help us to add a require. So it will add a requires in the module info.java. Also in the class, it will help us to import this, as well as it can add it in the module info.java if it is not already available. And as we see that there are build paths changes with module path and class path concept coming in, similar changes needs to be there while we are launching. So as we can see here, now we have a tab called dependencies, which is new for Java 9 and above JREs. And we can see here also we have an entry of module path and a class path entry. So all the entries which have been defined under the module path or the class path will be propagated here. And if we want to override anything, we can always override it here. So if this was there, we did a patch module in the Java build path. We had specified that we are going to patch this module. So that has been propagated here. But if we want to add some more add reads or add exports or any kind of command line options which have been defined by Java 9, it can be provided here and it will be used for the launching of this method. Also, we get some if like here we have a JUnit project, but we have class path entry for JUnit 5. And for a modular project, when we want to add a requires, we expect the JUnit to be in the module path. And here, as you see, the requires is not compiling because the entry is not under the module path. So here we get a quick fix to say move class path entry to module path. And now we will see it has been moved to module path. Also, if there are JUnits which are defined in a now with Eclipse Photon, as we know, we have a new concept to create different test source folder. As this test, you can see it is a test source folder which has been defined in the path. Here we have defined the different test folder with a different output, and we say that it has a test sources as yes. And then we can see as because these test files are not part of the module and it is in the test source folder which is outside of the module. So we can still have if we want, we can still keep the JUnit 5 outside of the class path. And we can see it will, we can still make it work and it will not be a problem. But we can also see that we need some special options we need more options for it to be able to run because it is not a modular project. And with the test source folder, actually the main source folder is not able to see the test source folder. So here we are patching the module, the demo test JUnit with this output folder which we have specified. And also we have added the add read so that now this module can read the all unnamed. So with Java 9, there are many new options like add reads and add exports. There are new options like all unnamed, all system, all default. So if all unnamed is for all the classes which are not part of any module, it belongs to a unnamed module. So here the named module of demo test JUnit is able to read all the unnamed module and which has this test class. Also, we can see if an existing project, suppose we have a project which is with Java 8 and we want to run it with Java 9, or then we can move it to Java 9 and then the tab will change. So suppose I create I change this JRE to JRE8 and apply. So we can see we will have it as a class path. And if we are changing back to 9 or 10, and if we, without applying, we try to move to the tab, it will ask us if we want to apply the changes and we want to continue. And if we say yes, then it will change all the class path tab to the dependencies tab. So these are the features of Java 9, and now we are moving to the features of Java 10. And we can see for Java 10 now we can add we can see now we have a new option, execution environment Java SE 9 and Java SE 10 in Photon to support all these JREs. And also we can add a new JRE 11. We have added a future release version as there will be frequent releases, and with the specified naming conventions, we are supporting the addition of future JREs. But if we add a future JRE, we can use it, but we give a warning because there are some changes which can in some cases not allowed to execute with this JRE, but we can use it for most of the cases, so we can add it, and even while running it from our run configuration, we can use it. We can use our Java 11 JRE without any problem. Till Eclipse Oxygen, we did not allow this, and we used to get a .class file not compatible. But now we can run any future JRE versions unless and until the class file has changed, and it really cannot run. And Java 10 has added a new concept of local variable inferencing. So we need not create a variable of a particular type. As we can see here, we have used var. And if we hover it, we can see it is actually of type string. Because this was string and this has been initialized, we can see it is of type string. So we can use var for the cases where the scope is very less. It can be misused as well, so we have to be really careful as to in which all cases we want to use var. Because if the usage of var is spanning across many lines, and at any point of time, if the initialization, it is very important that the var will have always the initialized value, because the type is inferred by that. And if we change this type, here suppose I change this s to an integer value, then everywhere the impact will be known only if the scope is less. So it is up to the programmers and us as to how wisely we use this. And we have added the support for autocomplete. Here we can see the var autocompletion available. But here at this scope, the var is not available. So we will not get as auto-completion available out here. We can also see that we get options to convert it to change type. We can always change type of X to string, as well as we get the suggestion as a change type of S to var. Also, if we have used Java 8 JRE and we are trying to use a var, we get a quick fix so that we know that, okay, we are not using a JRE 10, and it helps us change the compliance to 10 if we want to. And now coming to these are where all the features which were present in Photon for all the Eclipse Java 9 and Java 10 support. And now Eclipse team is working for the next release of Java, which is Java 11. We don't have any build out there for the users to support. The code is there in a beta Java 11 branch, and shortly we will be having a build with this support. And currently we support the addition of var inside the lambda parameter. So here we can see var can be used as a parameter in the lambda scope as well, which was not allowed in Java 10. But if there are more than one lambda parameters, we cannot use a mixture of variable var and specified. So we can have both as vars, or we can have both as integer. And there are a couple of more features for which Eclipse team is working. There is nest-based access control. It is more of a compiler level feature where currently till Java 10, if there are entities in the same class and they get compiled to different class files, the access of private variables are through access bridge methods, which is not very easy. So that method is eased up through the nest host and nest member methods, so it can be easily accessed. But they are more internal features rather than the programmer level. And also a feature of dynamic file constant support, where a new common pool for constant dynamic has been added, like invoke dynamic, which will allow to delegate to a new bootstrap method. Eclipse is working towards the minimal support of that. So these are the features which we can expect them in the Java 11, and we will be working to give some more features and UI improvements in this area. We will also have the Java SE. You can use the Java here when we will have the Java SE 11 execution environment, and we can use them in the JRE for our execution and compilation. And now I wanted to talk about some tips on how we can, how a Java programmer, or how a person who is having Java 8 or lesser compliance level projects, and they want to create new projects in Java 9, 10 or 11, which will be having a long-term support, or if they want to move their existing projects to the new one. So some of the tips are to create new. If we are creating new projects, the suggestion will always be to have a modular project, and we should use all the existing modules in under the module path, and the existing old jars which can be converted to auto modules, that also can be placed under the module path itself, but the name of the jar should be such that it follows the rules of the module naming convention. We have to make sure that, as well as all the classes which will not be part of these, that we need to make sure that they are part of a jar which is present in the class path. And also with Java 9, we should try to avoid the default packages, because module understands the classes. The named module will figure out the classes only under the packages, because we export or require a particular module, or we specify a export or a read at a package level. So package should be used till Java 8. We could have not used also, but mostly we used to use, but now it is more of a compulsory to use the package. Also, when moving forward, we need to understand these new command line options, which are add read, add export, patch module, limiting the modules, and the all default, all system, all unnamed. So these are the options. As I had shown before, it needs to be understood if we are going to have a mixture of new projects which will be using some of the older projects and their libraries. We need to see that all of them are accessible by a module, and we need to be clear as to if we are putting the jars or libraries in the module part and or class part, and the accessibility. And there are some options specifically for the testing or the launching, which is not available for the read, like opens. Add opens is available while launching, so we have to understand these features and use it accordingly. I think that's all from my side. We can know more about it from the feature, from the news and new and noteworthy of Eclipse Photon 4.9. And we have Java 9 examples, Java 10 and Java 11 example page, which I can show. So we can get the Java 9, Java 10, Java 11 examples at the Eclipse wiki page, and Eclipse Photon JDT new and noteworthy lists many of these features which we can see again. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarika, for a fantastic demo and presentation. And of course, thank you to the community for tuning in as always. At this time, we don't have any questions on our YouTube channel, Twitter, or the Meetup page. So if anybody has a question, feel free to drop us a line there, and we will send the questions over to Sarika to answer. So again, I'd really like to say thank you, Sarika, for presenting. It was great.
Thank you.
And we will see everyone next week with 2 webinars on Monday. The first, Embracing JUnit 5 with the Eclipse IDE, as well as what's new in Eclipse Xtext 2.4. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you then.